What is sociology? According to Merriam-Webster, it's an enduring and cooperating social group whose members have developed organized patterns of relationships through interaction with one another. To break it down, sociology is the study of society, social institutions, and social relationships. Think of it as a lens through which we examine how people interact within their communities and the structures they create together. Whether it's looking at family dynamics, the influence of education, or how we navigate workplaces, sociology helps us understand the bigger picture of human behavior. Every day, we're part of various social groups and systems such as our families, schools, workplaces, and even our online communities. Sociology digs into how these interactions shape us and how we influence these social structures. For example, how does growing up in a particular culture affect the way you see the world? To sum it up, sociology examines how human behavior is shaped by the society we live in. It's not just about individual choices, but how these choices are influenced by our social environment.
Now I'll be explaining the relevance of sociology to the social sciences. Sociology is studied by scientists that looks at societies ranging from family, education, and religion. Now, a society in sociological terms is referred to a group of people who live in a definable community that share the same cultural components. So on a broad scale, societies can be everything we see around us, from businesses, schools, jobs, and some cultural components shared by people can be the language that they have, the food that they eat, the clothes they wear. There are a lot of different factors that bring people together, considering them a society. Now, sociologists seek to understand how these societies run in order to determine if they'll be successful or not. Sociology can also influence the power, policy, structures, and global outlook that a community has. For example, there were tests done on certain areas to determine poverty, homelessness, racism, a bunch of different factors that can determine whether a society will thrive and how much longer they have.
Structural functionalism views society as a complex system made up of various parts that work together to maintain stability and function effectively. Society can be thought of as a machine where each part has a role, and when everything is working together smoothly, the system as a whole runs well. There are three key concepts in structural functionalism. The first concept is social structure. This refers to the organized patterns of relationships and institutions in a society. It includes everything from family units and schools to government and religious organizations. The next concept is social function. Every component of the social structure has a function or purpose that helps society run smoothly. For example, schools educate children, families provide emotional support, and laws would help maintain order. And the last concept is social stability. When all parts of the social structure are fulfilling their functions effectively, society remains stable and balanced. If something disrupts this balance, structural functionalism examines how society adjusts to restore stability. Structural functionalism sees marriage as a framework for socializing kids, sharing responsibilities, and maintaining economic stability. From a structural functionalist perspective, divorce is seen as a disruptive force. When a marriage ends, it doesn't just affect the couple involved, it has broader implications for the social system. Divorce can shake up family dynamics, impact economic stability, and alter social roles. Divorce can disrupt the traditional family structure and the routines that support stability. For example, if parents separate, one might need to take on new duties or adjustments in parenting. Divorce can also bring on financial changes. Households may need to adjust to new economic realities, which can affect not just the immediate family, but also the wider social network. Divorce can also change how individuals relate to one another within their social circles. It might affect social norms and expectations, altering how people view and engage with concepts like partnership and family. Structural functionalists study these impacts to understand how divorce influences the broader social system. They look at how the disruption of a family unit affects social cohesion and how society adjusts to these changes to restore balance. In this brief video, we explore the experiences of children affected by divorce and the unique challenges they face. Through the lens of structural functionalism, we examine how these young individuals navigate the disruptions caused by family separation. The video highlights the impact of divorce on their social structures and roles, illustrating how children adapt to changes in their family dynamics and the broader social system. By focusing on their struggles and resilience, this video provides insight into the ways structural functionalism helps us understand the ripple effects of divorce on the younger generation.
Oh no, this can't be happening. Divorce, that's a big change. Sometimes I just really ask and I purposely cry to make them go back together, but it doesn't work. Sometimes I think that because I'm mad or mean or did something bad to them, I think it's my fault that they're divorced.
When they are fighting, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take that side or this side.
Don't get in their way. That's something I've learned. Don't get in their way. A lot of things are gonna change in your life. At my dad's house, I take a bath. And at my mom's house, I take a shower.
When I'm alternating houses, I forget stuff.
Can we just rewind and live in the same house in the same old world?
It's true, it is hard, but I usually get through it. I just talk to myself, and I usually let go a little bit of tears.
It's not like what you think, really. We're still a family, but you don't live in the same house anymore. That's all.
In this brief video, we explore the experiences of children affected by divorce and the unique challenges they face.
Now, another paradigm in sociology is the symbolic interactionism paradigm. This is also known as the culture paradigm. This paradigm focuses on the subjective aspects of social life rather than the objective aspects, as well as the macro-structural aspects of social systems rather than the micro aspects. So it emphasizes the meanings of interpretations that individuals attach to their social interactions. This can be handshakes, text messages, phone calls, anything that has a symbol that gives off a meaning in someone's life. So this perspective is interested in understanding how people can create, maintain, and change social realities through these interactions. Some key concepts include symbols, interaction, and meaning. Influential sociologists in this paradigm are George Herbert Mead and Irving Goffman. George Mead was known for arguing that individuals can create their sense of self through interactions with others in society. He focused on language and symbols being the essential tools in shaping human behavior. Now, Irving Goffman is more known for his beliefs in dramaturgy. This was used to portray people as actors or people who played roles in their life that shaped their human behavior. Now I'll be explaining how symbolic interactionism relates to divorce. So within this paradigm, the culture paradigm, groups can create or interpret symbols, meanings, and shared understandings. Some of these understandings is primarily based on ending a relationship between two people, but in most cultures it can mean ending a family, splitting up a family, going against traditional beliefs. There are a lot of cultures that believe divorce is wrong, and they would even make those people seem as outcasts in their culture just because they didn't follow through with their legal marriage agreement. So regarding divorce, the cultures can shift by rearranging family dynamics, emotional experiences. This primarily has to do with children, as well as the two adults involved, but the most affected is children, adolescents. It can affect identity formation, social networks, and perceptions of relationships. So regarding adolescents and children, they can have a false sense of what marriage is, what a relationship is, and it could affect their long-term relationships. Now, within two people, they can go through phases of healing after divorces that ends up shifting their entire lifestyle. That lifestyle can include what culture they're in, the people they hang around, and how they choose to live their life. For example, some people might turn to alcoholism after a divorce. Some people might turn to a specific religion. Their culture can shift drastically based on the initial decision of getting that divorce.
Social conflict, a system based on social inequality. Each part of society benefits some categories of people more than others. Social inequality leads to conflict, which in turn leads to social change. The conflict theory focused on issues of contention, power, and inequality, highlighting the competition for scarce resources. We are talking no more than the conflict sociologist Max Weber from 1864 to 1920. This German theorist believed in social conflict of society and distinguished it through the stratification of class and power, culture, education, religion, and ethnicity. In the Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, Max Weber's point of view included the German word Verstehen, which is the word for understanding, to bring meaning as people were portrayed as actors. Max Weber looked to Karl Marx as a mentor and foundation for the theories that would evolve into further studies. We can use these foundations in the postmodern world. Although Weber spoke of religion and why it could be beneficial to capitalism, he later tied tradition and emotion as a way people were motivated into action. When we talk about similarities, we can see the elements of Max Weber's conflict theory in the marriages of the United States of America. Most families in America start with just two adults joining together in a legal union called marriage. Many people seek a partner with Weber's categories. So if you're looking for stratification of class, power, culture, education, religion, ethnicity, and sex. This is a list among the top categories people inquire about in searching for a permanent partner. Not all marriages are the same or display exactly the same rituals, but they are compatible and enjoy each other's company. In a traditional marriage, especially in some religious cultures, there is an expectation of loyalty and monogamy in a marriage when you become a spouse. In today's postmodern culture, the word family has many definitions. There are blended families, one-parent families, same-sex families, childless families, and adopted families. Family units can bring a sense of financial security, emotional support, and socialization among siblings and between children and their parents. Family brings solidarity to the culture, to our community, and to our nation. As you can see in the graph above, there is a few categories that talk about consensus, which would be compassion. Then you have the opposite side, which brings conflict, which is where we're talking about today. Then you have an objective view, which has to do with more worldly outside of what you do, objective. You have subjective, which is your personal feelings. We have a micro level, which is kind of where we're at with marriages, although we can go macro and think about them in a world view. Here we're talking about differences. Marriages are never entered with the idea of getting a divorce, and yet many do not survive. According to the Forbes Advisor, 673,989 annulments were reported for the year 2022, with the average marriage lasting only 8 years. The most recent trend shows that divorces have slowed, as you see on the graph here, during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that was from 2020 to 2022. And yet they're still happening. Many have speculated about the reasons why these divorces happen, and the possibilities are many. Max Weber found people are dissatisfied with their economic class and getting into debt to meet their needs. In other cases, culture and power over your mate can become a problem, and the issue of disrespect. Some couples don't survive due to lack of education and the difficulty they have communicating amongst each other. And some religions require monogamy, and a partner decides to have an affair. Many times, ethnicity may become a problem among blended families and how to raise their children. The reasons are many for divorce, and once a couple decides to divorce, the conflict may only escalate. And after that, many couples seeking divorce find that they need to learn about divorce document preparations, mediations, case management, lawyer services, ready to file forms, name changes, co-parenting support, and alimony. If that's not enough, there's even sometimes a fee for 100% guaranteed court-accepted forms. So getting divorced is very messy.
Yourself. Do they really qualify for divorce? Which means, in other words, are they making the right choice? Because once you start talking legalese within a marriage, instead of talking love, there's no way back. It's not going to go back to what it used to be. And so it pretty quickly snowballs from there. And so there is a set of 3 questions, 3 very simple questions that I suggest that people answer to themselves within a course of approximately 6 months, and that they write down their answers so that they can evaluate for themselves within being so overwhelmed, right? Because you get very overwhelmed when you start thinking that anything and everything that you have in life is not going to be on the table. You may lose your kids. You may not see them as often. You may lose half of your money, okay? And so you sit down and you answer those scaling questions to yourself to see over time, not to rush through anything, if you're making the right choice. And the first question is, on a scale of 0 to 1, 0 being the least, 0 to 10, I'm sorry, 0 being the least and 10 being the most, how much do I really want to stay in this relationship? Now, if you consistently, over time, over the course of 6 months, answered 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, that means you're out. You're done. You're done with this relationship. But if one day was a 0, and the next day was an 8, and the next day was a 4, and the next day was a 6, that means you're going to find a therapist. Because what you're experiencing is a marital crisis. That means you're not consistently checked out.
In conclusion of our conflicts section, just wanted to say that family is a responsibility that should not be taken for granted. The end result of divorce is painful, like tearing a steak in half, knowing that it could never be put back the same way. Many people are affected, not just, the couple, but children, the friends, the family-in-laws, communities, and solidarity of our nation. The TED Talk that we provided here is a video, and it has a question to ask you. Are you qualified to get a divorce? Michelle Rosen, a mediator, gives a great talk about how people need help with therapy versus quitting their marriage, and proposes a unique test. And you need to find out if it's a marital crisis or a personal crisis. And we can watch a minute of this so that you can see how she does this.
Yourself.